Hey everybody, so I wanted to get on here and talk about a subject that is a little bit new for me. So mixed with something that's not so new for me. So at the age of, my son asked me to get a tattoo with him. And after saying forever that I was never going to do that, I agreed. And we went and got a tattoo. Now, tattoos are something new for me, obviously, but something it's not is skincare. So going into getting a tattoo, of course, I had to approach it as an esthetician. So we did a lot of things that I think people don't necessarily think of when they're getting a tattoo. So I just thought I would share that with you and my experience that I've had. So number one is preparing the skin prior to a tattoo. Think about anything that in your body when it experiences an injury, because a tattoo is still an injury to the body. So being properly prepared is going to really help that healing process. So I made sure that number one, we were super hydrated. So for 2 weeks prior, possibly even more, but 2 weeks is all I can get my son to do. We kept really hydrating that area, making sure that the lipid barrier was really strong, making sure that its healing properties were going to really be helpful once we got the tattoo. So that is something super important. And there's, as far as what to prep the skin with, we can go over that at a later time, and I can put some hints down below. But for now, definitely hydration, 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 even if it's something as simple as a shea butter or body oil, just to keep that skin hydrated. The more hydrated it is, the better it's going to be able to heal. The other thing, not in my case, but for my son, was that we actually decided to wax him a few days prior. You want to make sure that it's done several days in advance, and maybe that you even did it maybe another month before, just so that it's not the first experience for that area to be waxed, because it can also be a little traumatic. So, and the reason for that is when you go in to get your tattoo, they're going to shave you, right? Because they want that clean surface to work on. So you want to make sure that you have no hair in that area. So like my son was here, and whether or not you think there's barely any hair, when they go to work, they need no hair. So I would recommend that you wax in advance. Now, why wax and cause a little irritation when you can just shave? Couple reasons. One, shaving causes irritation for a lot of people as well, and it's super temporary. So I don't know if you've ever noticed or thought about this, but when you shave, sometimes the next day you have hair. As that tattoo is healing, you don't want to have hair growing right up through there. If you wax, you have several weeks where you have nothing. So by the time that hair starts growing through, your tattoo is mostly healed by that point. So you're not going to have that itching and irritation. If you start itching from the hair growth, especially if it's something you haven't shaved before and now you're shaving it, it can cause itching. And when you're itching and scratching, you're going to scratch open the tattoo and delay that healing process. So that's kind of what we did for prepping the skin. And then brings us to the post-tattoo care. So this is a bit of a controversial subject. I didn't realize this until, the night after the tattoo, we had, my son and a couple other people kind of arguing in our kitchen about what to put on it. And I can't believe that I hadn't given this more thought prior to the tattoos. So the two most common things out there, I would say, that people will recommend for you, tattoo artists alike, is A&D ointment or Aquaphor. It is like battle royale on this subject, right? So everybody kind of has their stance. And they kind of have a really strong opinion towards either one of the two. I will say, and this is my personal opinion as an esthetician for over 25 years, dear God, yes, 25 years, neither of them are actually really great for the skin. And the reason for that is one of the main ingredients in both of them is petroleum jelly. Okay, petroleum, petrolatum, different kind of variations of the same term, but it is still a petroleum-based ingredient. And petroleum has been linked to so many complications in the body, and it has been linked, and actually in Europe, it has been on a list of things that they are not keeping on the market any longer. So it is really a carcinogen to the body, okay? Now, some of you may say, well, I don't care. And because it's a temporary thing, it's fine. But the other portion of this is that petroleum is extremely drying to the skin. Okay, so you think, oh, I'm putting this stuff on, and oh, it's so greasy, and it feels like it's really creating this barrier, and it is creating a barrier. which is another portion of it. It creates a barrier, so much so that your body isn't able to breathe. The skin isn't able to breathe. And oxygenation is necessary for healing. Okay, so you want something that's still going to protect. Super important to protect that. I keep going here because this is my son's tattoo. Super important to protect that area, but you also want to make sure that it's not, that your skin is still able to breathe. Okay, you really want, personally, and I am not here to sell any particular item, any particular product. There is a lot of things out there on the market that I've seen, some really great, some tattoo artists have really created their own brands. I personally actually just, we had something that a farmer was making for us here at our spa. Unfortunately, he has gone out of business, but there are some really excellent things out there. I actually went to my local Whole Foods and got some things there with some natural herbs. So there are some fantastic ingredients that you really want to look for, and what you really want to look that you do not have in there is for sure the petroleum. Okay, petroleum, parabens are also a negative. They're in a lot of your skincare products out there in the market as a whole, but you really want to look for something that's going to be more naturally healing. The one that in particular that I'm using does have some chickweed. It has some St. John's wort, which is going to help with some pain and antibacterial, antimicrobial effects. So look into some things. I personally am steering clear of the A&D ointment. I'm steering clear of the Aquaphor. And another thing that you guys, if you're not feeling the elements of the carcinogens, because some people say, whatever, it is known to fade your tattoo. Okay, so I know that one will get you. You want to make sure that because the petroleum is actually really, it's so not healthy for the skin. And when you put that right on immediately, because that goes on immediately following your tattoo, as most of you are aware if you're watching this probably. So you want to actually take a salve with you. Take something that, do your own research as far as which one you want to have, but you want to have that immediately following your tattoo. Okay, and then continue that on for several weeks, because when you start to think that you're healed, it can take truly a full 6 weeks for that skin to heal, especially depending on what it is. Mine is very tiny and thin lines. My son's is extremely dark, and there was a lot of bleeding, so on a really intense, deeper, larger tattoo. So you want to make sure that you're being super vigilant about not letting the bacteria get in there, and being super cautious with all of that. But I just wanted to share this with you because this is something that I think isn't really discussed out there very much, and people immediately go to the A&D ointment, the Aquaphor, and no fault to those of you who have used it, or to tattoo artists that are still using it. And I know a lot of people are, because people think of it as a medical grade product, the A&D ointments and the Aquaphors. It's something that hasn't caught on as much in this country as far as the petroleum-based products. I personally went here, we have something called Kimberton Whole Foods. The large Whole Foods nationally, I'm sure, has something comparable, but I would go that route, or check out some of the larger tattoo companies that have kind of looked at more organic, healthy options. All right, just thought I'd share that with you guys today. All right, have a wonderful day. If you have any questions, feel free to put them below, and I will be happy to answer them for you.